Broadcasting live from the highest cloud of privileged patriotism. The PC radio show is on Mojo 50 Radio.
Welcome aboard, Mojo 50 Radio listeners, iHeartRadio listeners. If you are on iHeartRadio, you are one of over 500,000 people that are now addicted to the Patriotically Correct radio show. Our numbers staggeringly, exponentially increasing beyond levels of comprehension. If you're watching us on social media, welcome. And speaking of social media, the best way to watch us on social media is through the OpsLens app. If you have not had an opportunity to download the OpsLens app, make sure that you do that, because what it does is it gives you the opportunity to become a citizen journalist as well as to view us. And if you're viewing us today, you'll note that Richard is showing the listener just a tad bit more respect for their time today. He's got the button up going on. He refuses to wear a tie. And that's on you, bro. I mean, I wear a tie. It's not about me. Like I said, it's about the listener. And the time of the listener is worth the energy that I put into looking good for them.
Unfortunately, I don't mind ties, but when you're sporting a 22-inch neck, it's hard to find shirts and ties that work. And you know, I'll have to go out and buy some or have some made or something.
You're a big dude. There's no question about that. But, you know, I mean, there are places that specialize in stuff like that. A lot of people do specialty stuff out there. I'll tell you one place that's doing a lot of specialty stuff right now. There's a promotion going on over at American Pride Roasters Coffee. And if you go to Mojo 50 Radio online and go to the website, the Mojo 50 Radio website, you'll see that the Brad's Brown Bag, there's a huge promotion going on with the Mojo 50 American Pride Roasters Coffee conglomeration, if you will. And they're getting together, they're teaming up. There's a lot of donations that happen when you buy American Pride Roasters Coffee. A lot of great things happen when you drink American Pride Roasters Coffee. Brad's Brown Bag and Ron's Sexual Chocolate, Izzo's Rage Blend. There's a lot of other ones over there. It's a very intuitive website that tells you all about the different blends. And I did receive my shipment of the Brad's Brown Bag because I took advantage of the tremendous special that's going on over there. So make sure that you get over there. American Pride Roasters Coffee via the Mojo 50 Radio website. Richard, black people are still being used by the Democrat Party, and they're being held hostage by extremist liberal progressives. And I've been saying this on the show since day one. Okay, when we came on board at Mojo 50 Radio, when we came on board on iHeart, I immediately said, black people are being used by liberal, progressive, extremist radicals, and the party of Democrats has been hijacked. Now, what we know about that, and what I mean by that, is that they're still enslaved. And they're enslaved because liberals and progressives take their vote for granted. They have taken black people's votes for granted since the establishment of the party, really. And if you were in the union, you were supposed to vote Democrat automatically. If you're a minority, a black person, you're supposed to vote for a Democrat automatically. If you're a teacher, if you're a farmer, these are all people that have been held hostage, but a lot of these people are leaving. Farmers, unions, okay? There's the walk away movement is really big, but black people are still being enslaved. And it's very obvious by this whole narrative of systemic racism. Think about it. Everything that we talk about nowadays is racist. If I mention that most black people like catfish, that's racist. No, it's not. It's fact.
Yep.
Facts don't care about feelings. The fact of the matter is, Democrats only talk to black people once every 3.5 years, which is why I'm going to be the most jealous of black people when this whole thing is over, because we won't have to hear from those assholes for another 3.5 years. But what I'm saying here is that, I mean, even if I were to say, my wife drives a white vehicle, well, why is it got to be white, man? You know, why can't it be off color? Why can't it be colorless? Why has it got to be white? That's racist. But what we alluded to yesterday is that the silent majority is shrinking. And the silent majority for Trump is getting smaller. And when I say that, I don't mean in numbers. I don't mean that the silent majority is shrinking in physical number. What I mean is the people who used to be a part of that majority are becoming less silent. And that's driving Democrats crazy. And they're really on the attack now. And what I mean by that is that if you are a black person and you speak out on behalf of Trump, now you're an Uncle Tom, which is the most racist thing I have ever heard of. And black Democrats will jump all over black Republicans or black conservatives or black Trump supporters, and they will call them racist names. But more and more black people are saying, screw that. I don't really care what people think of me. I'm going to support Donald Trump. Richard, you've seen the trend.
I have. And, I was looking this morning on Facebook, and I just looked up #walkaway, and it's post after post after video after picture after post of all these people that are clearly waking up, as you say. It's nuts. And this is like back in the mid to late 90s when that movie Jungle Fever came out, and it was a big thing when black women were dating white men. Stupid, right? My mother, who is Polish, 100% Polish, is married to a black man from southern Alabama. And that's probably the best person she could have met for herself. Sincerely, her soulmate. And so does she get called out? Does he get called out? I don't know, but it really doesn't matter.
It's the whisperings. It's the grumblings after they're somewhere together, or when they're out eating. It's, oh, look at that. Look at that. What is she thinking? Little does she know that Robert, or little do they know, this is the guy that came from the definition of oppressive racism in the Deep South. Okay. Yep. He couldn't even drink out of the same drinking fountain. This is in those days. And now is a retired person who had an incredibly successul career. Cash Kelly
and
is
help.
Another. Yeah.
And let me just go back because I think it's important.
Okay.
Not only did he have an illustrious career, but he worked in the industry of helping people with employment and things like that. And it didn't matter what color you were when you came into the office to get help finding a job, black, Asian, Latino, all these things. And he is a pretty staunch Democrat, but he's one of those that we talk about that we like, that makes sense, that can have an intelligent conversation with you about his views.
But one thing I will say about Robert, though, is he doesn't want to hear facts that argue against his opinion. He's very emotionally invested into the Democratic Party. And so when you do start to talk to him about facts, he does seem to walk away. And hey, I love you, Robert. I do. And I know you watch the show. And hello, Eva. Okay. Richard's mom, she's a big fan. She's addicted as well. Who couldn't be? Look at that ruggedly good-looking man over there in the blue button-up. Cash Kelly, this is a guy who's got a pretty big Facebook following. He has come out in his support of Donald Trump, and this is what he said.
Support Donald Trump. First off, let me tell you, I didn't even know I supported Donald Trump until this year. And this is a straight-up fact. Used to be Democrat, and I thought I was, until I started looking at my views of why I support who I supported, and then I realized, nah, I'm more conservative than anything. And I looked at what Trump has done. That's the main thing I did. Looked at his whole life, not even just his presidency. And I've seen how much he's done for the African-American community, not just them, all communities of all people. Then seeing him do prison reform, which directly affected my life and people in my life. Then seeing what he's done for the schools and the money that he's put out into low-income communities. I got to give the man his props.
There was like $78 billion that they worked on that went into these communities that directly affect black people, because these communities are predominantly African-American communities. One of them was the north side of Minneapolis, but guess what? That help was rejected by Mayor Jacob Fry, who continues to say that he's for black people. He's not for black people. He's for votes. And, Governor Walz is not for black people. Mayor Lori Lightfoot is not for black people. The Portland mayor, the Seattle mayor, Joe Biden, they're all racist. They're not for black people. And when you see people start to speak up, black people in particular, on behalf of Trump or show their support for Trump, there's nobody that is more relentlessly attacked than these people. One of them was Candace Owens, who we all know is a supporter of Donald Trump, and who is a very successful black woman that understands that liberal progressive policies are not for black people. They attacked her. Watch.
Let me ask you something. Do you hate Americans with black skin color?
Absolutely not.
What kind of a question is that? Just the way that he frames the question is absolutely insane. Let's watch some more of this.
Let me ask you something. Do you hate Americans with black skin color?
Absolutely not. I actually love Americans with black skin color so much that I'm willing to fall on the sword 1,000 times for them to wake up and realize that we are being lied to, abused, and used by the Democrat Party.
Yep. I'm baffled because in the chairman's opening statement, he said that you openly associate with purveyors of hate.
Yes, purveyors of hate by his definition is anybody that supports the president. I support the president because he's done a tremendous job in helping the black community, despite all of the rhetoric from the media and leftists, which do not.
Yeah, and he continues his onslaught, his attack against one of the most educated black women that I've ever come across, and there are a lot of them out there. Candace Owens is a beautiful soul because she's so strong, and she knows. I mean, her life has been threatened so many times, and those threats are coming from inside of the Democratic Party. There's no question that she's on Hillary Clinton's radar, and there's no question that people like Joe Biden. I mean, this is the party of corruption. We know that, and that is substantiated by the criminal investigations that have been going on against this party for many, many years. Richard, Candace Owens, she hits the nail right on the head.
She usually does. She is. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that she will be in some high elected office within the next 5 to 6 years, and rightfully so, as long as she's willing to do so. But she doesn't really ever say anything, I think, that is off mark, off base. But what's very clear is that folks don't really ever want to have a conversation with her. You'll notice in a lot of videos when she's giving facts and talking about the different topics. I think one of her big ones is absent fathers in the black community.
Yes.
Nobody wants to talk about that. They start calling her names and calling her out, and then it just becomes a screaming match.
That's the MO of the Democrats and their supporters, is that they walk away from you when you start screaming facts. And, our guest yesterday was the Sheriff Adam Fortney from the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office in Washington. And he said that, he's invited his naysayers, these recall people, to come up and talk to him in his office. And the answer is always no. They don't want to have a real conversation. And that's because there's no substantive value to their argument. This is just defund, disband, cancel, tear everything down, break up the police. We want to loot, we want to rob, we want to steal, and it's our right to do so. And it doesn't even matter if it's a false narrative, like what happened in Minneapolis recently with a murderer, an actual murderer, who killed himself in front of the police. The police then tried to save his life. As a result of that, there were some onlookers that immediately took to social media, perpetuated a false narrative that there was an officer-involved shooting where a white cop shot another black guy. And it wouldn't have mattered if it was justified or not. Those are the times that we're in. It doesn't matter if an officer uses reasonable use of force. It doesn't matter if an officer is completely justified in his actions for using said force. The fact of the matter is they're going to rob, they're going to steal, they're going to loot, they're going to riot, they're going to burn, and they think that they're entitled to do so. Which brings me to my next point, or our next little video clip here. For those of you that are watching on social media, the OpsLens app, you'll be able to view this. For those of you who are listening on iHeartRadio, and for you that are listening on Mojo 50 Radio, and you're not able to see this, what we have here is a Trump rally in Chicago. And the Trump supporters were then confronted by BLM people, Black Lives Matter people. And what a lot of Black Lives Matter people don't understand is what it is that they're actually supporting, because they haven't taken the time to stop and really dig into what it is that they're supporting. They're supporting an organization, an actual political group that is for profit, that then takes this, well, maybe they're nonprofit, I don't know, but they are a heavy donation train, machine, locomotive. Yeah. And they take this money and then they flood it into the hands of politicians. The biggest recipient of BLM donations is Biden for president. So it's no question of why it is that Black Lives Matter is so anti-Trump, which, by the way, calling Trump a racist is like calling me a woman. Unless you've actually seen down there below the belt, you don't have any facts to substantiate that I might have a vagina. Okay, but
you're no woman, buddy.
Trump is no racist. And there's no factual data that anybody can show me. If you can show me when Trump said something racist, I'd be more than happy to opine on that. Have you ever heard him
and also, Stu, I have never, and Donald Trump has been somebody that's been in the public eye since I can remember. I have never heard of anybody anybody ever saying that Donald Trump was a racist until shortly after he came down that escalator and announced he was going to run for president.
He was the best friend of all these Democrats, the best friend of all these black people. He was Time Magazine's Man of the Year. I mean, all these people wanted to be around him. Let's go to Chicago and take a look at this deal because we're running out of time here.
When Trump, I can loot all the fuck I want to.
We stay looting.
I built this. What gives me the right to steal is because this land was stolen. That's what gives me the right to steal. I steal all the fuck I want to on stolen land. Fuck all y'all Americans.
Nice excuse. But you live on the stolen.
You leave. It's not your country. You came from Europe. All your ancestors came from Europe.
Is it your country? Yeah. Is it your country then? Is it your country? So who should we give it to?
Okay, so here comes a black guy on the Trump side, and he's going to try to reason with these people.
Black women dying right now. How's it built? How's it built? So what do we do? What do we do?
We are children of Kush.
So where are we going? No. So where do we go? You get out of here. I know history. Where do we go? Yeah? Yeah? Where? I'm not. So I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not a nigger, so I don't want to hear it. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I'm never going to be called one. I'm African. I'm African. I can see. I know my heritage. You don't know what the hell I'm from. You don't know shit I'm from.
You go to Africa with that shirt on?
Yeah, I did 2 years ago. Shoot a movie. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. You don't know shit about my background. You know, I actually come from a king. Tell me, I come from a king.
So this black guy is, he's a Trump supporter, and the first thing that comes out is racist rhetoric from these people. They start dropping the N-bomb. They start calling him an Uncle Tom. They ask him if he would go to Africa with that shirt on. He said, yeah, he did, actually, to shoot a movie. And this continues. Let's watch more of this here.
Yes, I do, too. I didn't visit it. I'm from there, homie. My family's from there, brother.
Roots.
I know. Oh yeah, you don't matter. But you're saying it, so it's true. It's out of your mouth, who's never been on Africa at all. But it's true. It's your mouth.
The name
Africa. You know them. Oh, you know them. Okay, I can call it my aunt, my cousin, my mom. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Oh, well, then it doesn't matter. So unless there's people you know, that's the only thing that matters. That's the only truth. What are we talking about? What are we trying to do here? What are we trying to do? What's up there? Okay, so do you care about all the kids? Yeah, okay, so
we don't hate you. We don't hate you.
What are you talking? Yeah, we hate racists too.
We love you.
We hate racists too. We hate racists too. We hate racists too.
We hate racists too, brother.
Hey, after what happened last week, my bad. Wait.
This country.
You got a good shot.
Wait. 38.
He's trying to get in here and talk and actually have a reasonable conversation, but they're just not having it.
No, is that what you're worried about?
Okay.
But is that what you're?
And F Joe Biden too, he says.
No, but you're worried. No, wait.
Well, he got one thing right.
You said you're worried about. Wait. You're worried about. Wait. Let me ask you a question. Hold on. Let me ask you a question. You're worried about the guy that died last week. Where was all this when those 38 kids were killed in Chicago in July with the defund the police bullshit?
Yes.
No. Oh, people die all the time.
People die all the time, is what they said. So he gets to the point here where he starts then talking about the same thing that we've been talking about. And when I say we, I don't mean just you and I on this show, Richard. I mean we logical, sensible people who really understand that black people are still enslaved. They're being used for their votes because liberal progressives like Joe Biden and like Kamala Harris, the pseudo-aristocrats that they are, will shove down their throat every single day that they must vote. He said it. You don't vote for me, you ain't black. The most racist thing I've ever heard of. Continuing in Chicago.
But when babies die, but when a criminal gets shot, now that's when you're going to come out? 38 babies in July in Chicago. 38, yes. Where are you at? I can show you faces. Yes, and I'm talking about it. What about who's killing those black babies? Who's killing those black? 10-month-old shot around the corner of my Trump. Trump shot in Southside.
Trump shot him, yes.
Started in 2010. This shit started in 2010.
It's on the news. He got kids.
It's on the news. You got to believe it. It's on the news.
2010, Rahm Emanuel shut down 50 schools in the south side of Chicago. The following year, it was more murders in the south side of Chicago than New York and LA combined. So what do you mean am I talking about kids? That matters to me. Why does that matter to you?
All of it matters.
Yeah, so why are we burning shit down for one guy, but 38?
I have to go higher.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
I haven't seen nothing yet. Why are you threatening this stuff?
No.
What's the point for what? Do you want to live in garbage? Do you want to live in garbage? Yeah, why would you do that?
One more. They got one more time to kill a
Let me
black
see.
person.
Okay, wait.
I'm gonna do it early.
Okay, do you
I'm
know
gonna do
this?
it early.
All right, what about, do you know George
I'm
Parker?
gonna do it early. They got
Do you know George Parker? Do you know George Parker?
So he starts to go through here and name the names of victims that were gunned down in Chicago with black-on-black violence. And that's when the BLM people start to dissipate and start to walk away. But you heard the one guy, he said, you ain't seen nothing yet. They're threatening more violence. They're threatening more looting, more robbing, more stealing. And you heard at the very beginning of this thing, I stay looting. I loot whenever I want. This is stolen land. This is the mindset of these people. And when I say that, I mean, this is how they've been influenced. They're being brainwashed. Liberal progressives, the pseudo-aristocrats that I'm talking about, they think black people are stupid. And that's what Candace Owens was talking about. They think black people are stupid and unable to think for themselves. There are apparently a few of them that are. But what gives me goosebumps and what gives me the chills is the way that this finished up in Chicago. Really pay attention to this. Listen to this. He hit the nail on the head right here.
Who else do we got? We got Robert, 19. He's 19 years old, all July. Who else we got?
They've walked away now.
Yeah, we got Lauren. Right here, 14-year-old boy. Hey, Damon. Damon looking good. Looking good. So where are we? Where are we? Because I'm waiting for you guys. Because I'm down to fight the power too, but if y'all ain't getting out for these people either, where are we? Where are we? This shit is fake. It's selective. This shit is fake and you're being used. Oh, another 18-year-old.
There it is.
Another 18-year-old dead. Another 19-year-old black male, black boy, dead. Before he's 20, 11-year-old black boy, dead. Where's LeBron? Where's LeBron? Where's all the shit? NBA ain't shutting down for none of this shit. I'm done.
Boy, I tell you,
that's a whole nother conversation.
The NBA?
Yep.
It's not just the NBA.
Nope.
And it's all professional sports. You mentioned that you saw a golfer wearing a BLM insignia on his shoe.
Yep.
But it's not just professional sports either. It's big corporations like Goodyear. You know, these large corporations, these professional sports, we've talked about the fact that people like these ignorant a-holes that are in this black guy's face in Chicago or are in the face of Trump supporters everywhere, that they are the minority. They don't represent the majority of people who are going to be voting in November. They don't represent the majority of people who live here in the United States, regardless of whether or not they intend to vote. They are an extreme minority of people, but they are the people that you believe are the minorities or a majority because the mainstream media infiltrates your living room every single night with this. This is what you see. So you start to believe that there is a ton of racism here. You start to believe that we do have a systemic problem of racism in law enforcement and that everybody is racist that doesn't agree with you. You just start to believe that. But these people don't represent the majority, and there is hope here. There is hope. I mean, the media paints a sense of hopelessness and helplessness for everybody almost ad nauseum every single night in the news. And you can't let yourself get down on this. You have to be less afraid of people like this because they're cowards. And that's proven by the fact that they walk away rich when facts are brought up.
I haven't seen one example of any of these assholes stand up and continue to fight their fight and continue to try to push their message when they're confronted with facts and something that makes sense. They turn tail and run. Just like the cowards that we fought overseas, when you could see them and started shooting at them, they turned tail and run. It's no better. These people are no better. And it's not just black folks either. We've seen it many times. It's white folks, it's Latinos, all kinds of stuff. Bullshit.
It is. In the second half, we have Shelly Mateer coming on. She's a former CIA agent. This should be an interesting conversation. More PC Radio straight ahead. Don't go anywhere.
We will force votes.
We will not stop.
Any Republican senator is part of the cover-up.
What the
Impeachment.
Impeachment. This is madness.
The PC Radio Show with Stu and Rich. Back in a minute.
The Democrats are lousy politicians. They really are. Horrible policies, open borders, crime is fine.
Welcome to the future, bitches.
They wake up every morning to stars, stripes, guns, and carbon emissions. Hey, who farted? Stu and Rich. Patriotically correct radio.
We also wake up every morning to American Pride Roasters coffee. You gotta fill your cup with some of that shit, man. It's, you'll smack your wife right in the face, as Izzo would say. Take a cup of that Brad's Brown Bag blend. Some of that Ron's Sexual Chocolate. Big promotion going on over at, if you get to Mojo 50 Radio, go to their website, and then they're in cahoots with the American Pride Roasters coffee people. Make sure that you get over there. This episode of PC Radio brought to you by American Pride Roasters Coffee, because it's good and they pay us to say so. Shelly Mateer is a former CIA officer and author of Single in the CIA, Mission, Stand Down, and The Mingling in the CIA series, as well as 2 children's pictures books, Mommy Thinks She's a Monster and The Lemon Seed. She's also the creator of the Cooking in the CIA app. That's interesting. We'll have to figure out what that is. The Burp Mitt product line and a comical children's music album, Mommy's Gone Mad. Her books are inspired and influenced by her experiences working undercover for the CIA's Directorate of Operations. Shelly, welcome to PC Radio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So a former CIA agent, that's a pretty big deal. What exactly did you do in the CIA, or what are you allowed to tell us that you did in the CIA? Let's start there.
Well, I was a staff operations officer, so it's not as sexy as people think. But for the majority of the time, I worked in the Washington, D.C. area, and then I discovered that I wasn't going to be able to get the ops training that I really wanted, and the reason that I had joined the CIA. So I guess I kind of fell into a field assignment, but not the field that usually the CIA is supposed to be in, which is the international field, but I went to the domestic field. And of course, I'm not allowed to say where, but that actually was a decent assignment. And basically, I just I attended meetings. I told people what to do, like for certain operations. But when I was in the D.C. area, I dealt with other foreign governments and met with their delegations and took them out to dinner. And I was the fun one, I guess.
Okay, well, which leads us probably to the book then, right? So you became the fun one. You were taking people out to dinner, and then you wrote a book recently, Single in the CIA, Stand Down in the Mingling in the CIA series. This tells me that there was probably some promiscuous activity going on in the CIA. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, yeah, Single in the CIA mostly focuses on my relationships. Like, I wasn't young. I was late 20s. What's going on with my voice? And I was a late bloomer. So when I got there, everybody, needless to say, everyone there was sleeping with each other, married or not. But I'll just say I wasn't married. I had nothing like that. But I was kind of a player, but a female, So I don't know what the word there's no female equivalent to womanizer, but I was a manizer, I guess, or whatever you would call it.
Sure.
So that's what that book is mostly about.
All right. And so I think that this is not new in law enforcement. And I would never talk about sources or name names here on this show, but I do know that in law enforcement there's a lot of that goes on, and so it's not a surprise to me, but especially when so let me ask you this then: was this activity taking place between you and other agents of the CIA, or was this people that you were charged with whining and dining and being, quote, the fun one?
Oh, no. If you did that, actually, you would get fired. It's one of the few things that they will fire you for. So there were no foreign interactions like that, but it was all within the agency. It's kind of a bubble where everybody dates each other. You know, it's very bizarre, actually, because when you go out into the real world, you have to lie about where you work. And most people in the D.C. area, they kind of know. You know, if you say something that sounds a little shady, they probably figure it out anyways. But yeah, everybody there was just sleeping with each other. That was at the time I was there, and it's probably still the same. But
I would imagine that when you're in the business of keeping secrets is pretty comes pretty normal. So when you speak of a bubble, clearly, that's what you're charged to do. Yeah.
Right, but a very dysfunctional bubble.
I think that's synonymous with everywhere. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Dysfunctionality in the nation's highest intelligence gathering agency. It makes me feel very comfortable. Tell us about these other children's books. So you go from being an expert in sleeping around to then writing 2 children's picture books. Mommy thinks she's a monster. What's that all about? Is that because of guilt?
No, it's more supposed to be aimed at the women who, you know, they had to give up their jobs and career to stay home with a child. And not that it's a bad thing. I'm not saying that that's horrible, but a lot of women have to they're mostly the ones that deal with the small children. So
yep, I won't
they're the
argue with
ones
that.
who have to, they have to take a break from their work usually. And I mean, my situation was different. I had kids late, so I'm the only like geriatric mom dropping my kid at kindergarten, you know, and I was the only 44, 45-year-old doing that. So, but I guess in some areas that's more normal. Everybody does that.
So you're a MILF.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that anymore. I don't get much sleep these days, so I'm not looking as young and fresh as I once did.
I don't think any of us are. I was just mentioning to Richard the other day that we need to get more sleep. You know, I can appreciate the fact that you left, or you know, the career or whatever to be home with your kid. Your kid is 3, right? Is that you have a 3-year-old?
Well, no. I left before that. I left because I wanted to live my own way, I guess, and I met my husband after that. So.
Okay.
Then I had kids late. So we're talking, I left in 2011.
Knowing your history in the CIA and after writing the book, Single in the CIA, was there a trust issue at the inception of your relationship with your husband?
No, because I had left and where I was living was mostly a boozy town, let's say, without identifying where it is. Mm-hmm. So I took the time to go out and have fun, and I met my husband at a bar. He was a bartender. So during one of my day drinking episodes, I walked in and I met him, and that's how we met.
Boy,
so,
Richard.
Because by then I could already say I was a CIA officer, and believe me, I love to be able to say it because one, you want to make money somehow, right?
Right.
So that's kind of a good hook. And they cleared me to say it, so I know all those people who freak out. Oh, you shouldn't be saying. It's okay.
Was there a lot of people who were skeptical when you would say that? I was a CIA officer, and they'd be like, "Yeah, okay, have another drink, lady."
Well, I wasn't. Yeah, they do that more now. I think I get a lot of on social media, which I hate actually, but it's a necessary evil. I get a lot of, oh yeah, you were a CIA officer, you know, like it's the same people who say, oh, but you wouldn't be saying that if you were, because they have no idea how the system works and how you can get your cover removed, and then you can say you were a CIA officer.
Well, Richard, it's kind of the same for us, you know, working for Interpol like we do. I mean, we're the only agency that actually denies actually having agents. So I dare you to call Interpol, Shelly. You can call them. They'll tell you they've never heard of us, and then you'll know what I'm saying is probably true. So Mommy's Gone Mad is another one, and this is a comical children's music album. Are you a singer?
I have a horrible voice, but yes, I did make a couple music albums for
Is there a place
for parents.
Can we find these on YouTube? Can we or is this something you got to buy
Yeah.
the album? Or?
No, yeah, they're on YouTube, they're on Spotify, all of them.
Oh boy!
Except for I think Apple Music. I think they're a little more picky. So.
Richard, you and I think we should go out with this Shelly gal because the day drinking thing, we've never done that before. We have to check with Interpol to make sure it's okay for us to associate with a former CIA agent. I mean, there's probably going to be some information exchanged, especially if we're drinking. No, I'm just kidding. Richard and I have a confession to make. We don't work for Interpol. Just to come clean here.
Dang.
Yeah, the cooking in the CIA app. What is this? Tell us about this.
Well, one of the things when I quit the agency, I wanted to learn how to make an app. So years later, once I had kids and had some time somehow to do something, which that doesn't make sense. But I learned how to make an app, and I made my own cooking app, which has a bunch of recipes, stuff from all over the world, things I picked up traveling, things I picked up in the agency, and then some I picked up outside of the agency.
You did a lot of traveling at the CIA. You didn't just do domestic stuff here. So, yeah.
No.
I mean, now, what's that guy's name? The chef. What's his name? Richard, help me out here. He swears at everybody.
That's Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay. He's got that deal. Okay. I think it's called Uncharted or something like that, where he goes all over the world and they pick like poisonous plants and they turn them into delicacy foods.
Yeah.
Is this the kind of crazy shit that you're getting into with your app?
No, probably
Sloppy
the most
Joe's
exotic. No, it's not that exotic, but there are a couple things that are kind of exotic on there.
Right. I just was talking to my family the other day and telling them that so my son is 15 and he's into cooking. He just made an amazing salmon last week, by the way. And I was telling them yesterday that I am going to attempt for Christmas dinner to make beef Wellington. And so maybe I can find that on your app. Yes? No?
Well, that one is not, but you could I don't have much beef on there actually. Except for a Cuban dish. There's a Cuban dish on there with beef.
She would probably Karen would probably be happy. Now, wait a minute. Now, is beef a green food, Richard?
No, beef is a red food.
Okay, so you can't have that anyhow. What is the wifey going to eat when you attempt this Wellington delicacy?
Brussels sprouts and carrots.
Those are green. Those are definitely green foods. Basically, anything that tastes like shit is okay on the program. Yep. So I admire people that do it, but and it shows by what I got going on here that I'm not part of the green program and the identifying stuff. There's a lot of people that listen to us on iHeartRadio that are using our email here, stu@thepcradioshow.com, to email questions. And when they found out that we were going to have a CIA agent on, they want to know if you still stay in touch with the goings on in the intelligence world. Obviously, you wouldn't be privy to any of that kind of information nowadays, would you?
No, I have friends that are mostly retired now.
Boy, you could make a lot of money by dropping some info. What's that guy? WikiLeaks. You could live in exile.
Snowden.
Yeah, Snowden. Where is that guy now? By the way, is he somewhere with Jimmy Hoffa? Can you tell us, Shelly, where is Jimmy Hoffa?
Yeah, where is he buried?
Yeah, no.
Okay,
still classified.
Hold on a minute. Are you saying no, that you can't tell us where he is, or no, you don't know where he is?
I wish I could tell you where he is. Well, if it's a domestic thing, we're not supposed to be doing any of that anyways, right?
Okay. Let me ask you something. Does somebody somewhere know where Jimmy Hoffa is?
I would bet the FBI might, right?
Okay, well, that's an educated guess.
We are relentless seekers of the truth, so we have to seek this one out.
Gotta ask the tough questions, stuff that's really relevant to what's going on in America today. Where is Jimmy Hoffa? It's that hard-hitting information that we must know. So when you were working domestically with the CIA, what kind of intelligence is the CIA? And you don't have to give me anything specific because I know that you can't. But what kind of information, generally speaking, is the CIA looking at domestically? Is it more stuff that's here now that's coming from overseas? Is it terrorism? Would local gangbangers or people like Jimmy Hoffa, if he were still alive, and maybe he is, would they be subject of a CIA intelligence gathering operation?
I don't think so. It's mostly when you're domestically assigned, you're fielding stuff from the field, the overseas field. Yeah.
Okay.
So
something that's
you would be in a
being talked
U.S.
about.
office, but you're not tracking U.S. citizens. That's a big no-no.
Okay. And we had that go on here recently with a specific individual by the name of Donald Trump. Do you know anything about this? Do you think that this is an investigation that's still ongoing for people like me? Okay, I'm sitting in a chair where I know that Hillary Clinton is a criminal. I know that Barack Obama did illegal stuff. I mean, we all know that the Trump campaign was spied on and that it was illegal. Are people like that protected by agencies like the CIA?
Well, apparently so. When I left 2011, by the way, so it was before a lot of this, or perhaps it was going on, but I had no idea. And honestly, I wasn't watching the news at the time. I was too busy sleeping around. So once I got out and things started really affecting me, because I had children and now I'm concerned about the future of the country, I started paying attention. And when I see the stuff that apparently was going on, it is criminal. It's a complete mess. And I'm not sure if it was going on the whole time I was there. I am sure some of it was. But after I left, it seems like there's a lot of stuff that, like this Brennan, I wasn't in when he was there. Mm-hmm. So to me, and I'm just a girl, it seems that he shouldn't have been allowed to do anything he was doing. It's criminal. But most Americans, I don't think they know what the CIA actually does. They're supposed to be an international spy agency. They don't do domestic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it kind of falls in line with a lot of things that are going on in our country now. Most Americans really probably don't know the truth about much of anything that they're involved in. Very few people sit down at a computer or pick up a newspaper or anything to find the truth, the real truth about what it is that's going on and what's being force-fed down their throats by other people. So it's shows like ours and great people like you that can have an insight to what really is going on, because as we discussed earlier before the break, there was a whole rally full of people that are completely ignorant to exactly what is happening around them. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And people don't read books anymore. They don't. And they don't even know how to research things. If you go on Google now, I notice everything it brings up is something completely biased, usually against President Trump. Mm-hmm. And I can't actually find real facts that I need to find for certain things I'm writing or whatever I'm doing.
We are right smack dab in the middle of communism, and we didn't even vote for it. This is fascism. When the media is being controlled by a political group, that is fascism. They become a propaganda machine. This is no different than the airplane drops that happened with propagandist material back in the Hitler days. I mean, that's what we're dealing with here, is it not?
I agree. We just came out of California, which is completely shut down by, we call it a Nazi state. And people out here where I am now, they don't understand because they aren't following it, because nobody knows what's going on in there. We say we feel like we escaped from Iran.
It's absolutely insane. The Black Lives Matter organization, let's talk a little bit about them. They are it's no secret that they're a contributing donator, if you will, to Biden for president, as well as all kinds of other. If you go there to blacklivesmatter.com and you click on the donate button, you can do your own research. Don't believe me, just do it yourself. You can actually follow it through this blue dot, and then you can see where blue dot contributes to, and you'll be astonished by where this money is actually going. And I'm sure that on YouTube or on Facebook now we're going to be censored as mostly false or kind of untrue, or however it is that they phrase this stuff. It's either true or it's not. But you can see the fact is right in front of you that they're contributing to these people. And so when you're donating to a group like Black Lives Matter, you're not donating to black lives. I mean, if you want to donate to black lives, go adopt a black kid, because fatherless homes in the black community are probably the real plague that's happening here, especially on the south side of Chicago, and so on and so forth. And I digress. I could go on about that forever, or Candace Owens could, or I could just leave it to her because she's much more intelligent and educated than I am. But this group could potentially be investigated as a terrorist organization because it's no doubtedly being funded by organizations from overseas. So if there's international funding to a group that's causing terror on the streets of the United States, could it be possible that they also, too, are being investigated by the CIA?
You know, I believe that would fall, it would be the FBI mostly, and possibly some of the Homeland Security, and maybe a little bit of CIA, but it would be, it's a huge bureaucracy. I mean, it's gigantic and it's bloated. I don't know. You know, that
maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe that's part of the problem, that it's gigantic and it's bloated, and that nobody really knows who's responsible for what. I mean, Stu, we see it all the time when we're out on the streets, right? I mean,
yeah, we do.
The cops will say, we don't want to do this, but can you guys do that? Because I don't know if we can do that, but I think you guys can do that. And so maybe that's how these organizations and these people slip through the cracks. I mean, didn't the U.S. government just come out and say that Antifa is a terrorist organization?
Antifa,
well, if that's true, how is BLM not?
Antifa is ISIS for pussies. That's what I would say.
Right on.
That's the whole drain the swamp issue. They wanted to drain the swamp, so the CIA is part of the swamp. Drain them.
That was a campaign promise of the president, and this is why this is why he's the biggest threat to the establishment that's happened in decades. Nobody ever thought that Donald Trump would be the president. You can rewind the tapes from MSDNC, or from CNN, the Communist News Network, or from NBC, the New Barack Channel, or from ABC, the All Barack Channel. You can rewind the tapes from The View. You can rewind the tapes from Ellen DeGeneres. You can rewind the tapes from George Stephanopoulos or from Stephen Colbert. You can even listen to Hollywood liberals, elitists, weigh in on how Donald Trump will never be elected president. And when he is, we are leaving. We are leaving this country. So why is it that Donald Trump is the only one fulfilling his promise? I wish these people would just get up and follow their promise and leave. Like, is Justin Bieber still around? I mean, I thought he was going to leave too, but yet he continues.
Yeah, I'll go help him pack, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. So the threat in America today is really anything that goes against the establishment. We're looking at somebody like Joe Biden, who's had 47 years in politics, 8 of which under the first duly elected black president. And we say duly elected now, but I think history books will prove that he was the first illegitimate president in our country, if they still write those things. They're doing away with history books. The cancel culture is running rampant in our country. They're tearing down statues all over the place. The new America is a very scary place to be. Do you think that the CIA's job is becoming tougher as a result of the goings-on here? Because obviously those hands are going to be tied to international things, or would that still be an FBI issue?
I think the CIA job, the job is always hard, but there's, in my opinion, and I was there for 8 years, it's a small group of people that are in there who actually know what they're doing, and then the rest is just bloat and waste. And I'm not sure now if it's gotten better. It would take more than 4 years to, clear that out.
Something that I've never really known about the CIA. Can a CIA person make an arrest?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
So the CIA can't actually arrest or charge anybody. They are simply a intelligence gathering operative and agency. And what they do is they gather the intelligence and then they give it to people who could potentially charge. Is that correct?
Yes, and again, I'm not the most educated person either, but yeah,
well, then
they're an intelligence agency like DIA or,
Okay.
As far as I know, DIA
that's
can't arrest. I don't know if they can.
So who receives the information that the CIA gathers? Where does that go?
It goes to all the agencies, FBI, Homeland Security. It has to be cleared for dissemination. They have their own channels.
Does it go to the White House?
It goes to certain partners overseas.
Okay. Does it go to the White House?
Some of it. Oh, yeah. I'm
okay.
Sure.
So the president has access to all of this information. That's an interesting thing, is you wonder why these presidents turn gray so quickly. Can you imagine the shit that they know that they have to take to the grave with them? I mean, I'm sure, Shelly, you probably have information that you have to take to the grave with you. Does it take a toll on you as a person to keep these secrets for a lifetime?
I guess it probably does, but mostly I write, so I just spew it out there, and then the CIA takes out what they don't like. They black it out. So my books have lots of redactions.
Oh, so do you have to actually give your books to the CIA for them to authorize the release of said information? Interesting. Okay. So does it take a while for them to get back to you with all the bureaucracy? Does it delay the book projects?
It delays it, yes. It depends on the book. Mission Stand Down was particularly upsetting, even though it is fiction, but they said it was a little too close. So it's very highly redacted. But sometimes it can slow it down, and sometimes they're quick. It just depends.
I'll tell you, it's funny that this comes up because I've never been more pissed off with a book than so I do audiobooks because I can't concentrate to read long enough. But I was listening to the book, and I forget the name of the guy who wrote it, but he was the dude who originally interrogated Saddam Hussein when they found him in the hole. And so you're listening to this audiobook and he's reading his story, and every 3 seconds, blah, blah, blah has been redacted by the Central Intelligence Editing Agency or whatever it was. And so by paragraphs have been redacted. I'm going, God dang it. This is all the best parts.
Yeah, the meat and the potatoes of everything. Shelly Mateer, a former CIA officer and author of Single in the CIA, also Mission Stand Down and the Mingling in the CIA series, as well as 2 children's picture books, Mommy Thinks She's a Monster, and The Lemon Seed. Shelly, hang on. I want to talk to you off of the air for a second. Richard, and by the way, thank you for coming on. Can we have you again sometime?
Of course.
All right. Richard, your final thoughts for today, and please be profound. We're all counting on it.
My final profound words for the day are, see you tomorrow, I guess.
Oh, my goodness. Here we go. At least you dressed up today. Mommy laid out his button-up shirt today. First day of school. First day of school for the Peters household as well, and that thing went off well without a hitch. All of the
so far
pandemic lockdowns, we're going to talk about that tomorrow and get into the unconstitutionalist views of many. Until tomorrow, at this time, here's what's up to it. Here's what's down to it. Here's to any way you can get to it. Here's to those that don't do it. May they be dragged to it, tied to it, or forced to it. And here's to us who do it, because we're the ones that's used to it. Remember to fly low and avoid the radar. One day they're going to come for the car, and when they do, save the radio!
Kicking off liberal propaganda like an enemy of the Clintons.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
Patriotically Correct Radio with Stu and Rich.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Mojo 50 Radio.